It happened in an instant. One splash, one gasp, one heartbeat of silence before chaos filled the glass-walled boardroom. The CEO of Caldwell Technologies, Serafina Caldwell, stood frozen as water poured over her sleek silver laptop, her billion-dollar presentation vanishing in a flash of sparks. Gasps echoed around the room. Executives jumped to their feet. And at the center of it all stood Archie Flynn, the quiet janitor with tired eyes and a trembling hand still clutching an empty bucket. For a moment, everyone thought they were witnessing sabotage. The boardroom's golden light glinted off Archie's soaked uniform as the murmurs grew louder. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" someone shouted. But Archie didn't move. His gaze was fixed not on the angry faces around him, but on the screen that flickered back to life beneath the dripping water. His expression wasn't one of guilt. It was fear. Backhand index pointing right. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength hidden in ordinary people, please like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more true-to-heart stories to life. Hours earlier, that same boardroom had been filled with tension. Caldwell Technologies, once a symbol of innovation, was on the edge of collapse. Investors were losing faith. Competitors were circling like vultures. But tonight, Serafina Caldwell believed she had found salvation, a massive merger deal with a global tech conglomerate that would secure the company's future. Every line of code, every confidential file, every asset was about to change hands. Archie Flynn was never supposed to be there. He usually cleaned the offices after midnight, long after everyone had gone home. But tonight, he was called in early. His daughter, Lily, had fallen asleep in the janitor's break room, clutching her worn-out teddy bear as her father worked silently in the shadows of glass towers and glowing screens. Archie wasn't just any janitor. 5 years ago, he was one of the best cybersecurity engineers in Silicon Valley. Until tragedy struck, his wife's sudden illness drained his savings, his focus, his will. After losing her, he walked away from the corporate world and into whatever job could keep food on his daughter's plate. The world moved on without him, but the instincts never left. Even as he scrubbed floors, he noticed things others missed: system updates that didn't align, cables that shouldn't be plugged in, emails that didn't look right. That night, as he quietly entered the boardroom to empty the trash, his eyes caught a flicker on the CEO's laptop screen. Lines of code, encrypted scripts, running beneath the surface of a document. It was something no one else would have noticed, but Archie's pulse quickened. He knew what it was: a remote data siphon. Someone was stealing everything: patents, client lists, financial records. In minutes, years of work would vanish into someone else's hands that he tried to warn someone. But who would listen to a janitor? He'd been ignored before. He'd learned that in the eyes of executives, a man with a mop doesn't have ideas worth hearing. So he made a split-second decision. When the file transfer reached 99%, Archie grabbed the nearest thing he could, a bucket of water, and dumped it over the laptop. That IT was reckless, desperate, and exactly what saved the company. The boardroom erupted. Security was called. The janitor was restrained. Serafina's expression was a mix of rage and disbelief. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" she snapped, her voice trembling. Archie tried to speak, but his voice cracked. "You need to check your servers. Now." His words sounded absurd to everyone in the room. Everyone except Serafina. Because in the chaos, she caught something on the flickering screen before it finally died. A progress bar labeled "Transfer Complete, 99%. For the first time, her anger faltered. She turned to her tech officer. "Pull up the system logs," she ordered. The room went silent as the officer's fingers flew across his keyboard. Then came the gasp that changed everything. "There's been a breach." The color drained from Serafina's face. The hacker wasn't outside the company. He was sitting right there in the room. One of her trusted executives. The man who had been pushing hardest for the merger. As security escorted the stunned traitor out, Serafina slowly looked back at Archie, the man everyone had dismissed seconds ago. Archie stood there, soaking wet, humiliated, his heart pounding. All he wanted was to keep his job. But now, he was staring at a laptop that had just proven him right. Serafina walked toward him, her heels echoing against the glass floor. "You knew," she whispered. "How?" Archie hesitated, unsure whether telling the truth would help or hurt. But then he thought of Lily, asleep in the break room. and decided honesty was the only path left. He told her everything. About his past in cybersecurity. About the patterns he'd noticed. About the gut feeling that made him act without thinking. When he finished, there was silence. Then, to everyone's shock, Serafina extended her hand. "You just saved this company," she said softly. "And I think it's time we stop calling you janitor." That night changed everything. In the weeks that followed, the scandal rocked the tech world. The exposed executive faced charges for corporate espionage. The merger deal was renegotiated under fair terms. Caldwell Technologies bounced back stronger than ever, and Serafina made sure the story of how it happened wasn't erased. She promoted Archie, not to security, but to a role he had never imagined returning to, lead cybersecurity consultant. But more than that, she gave him something he hadn't felt in years: dignity. The first time Archie walked into his new office, Lily was there, holding his hand. She looked around wide-eyed at the polished glass walls, the glowing screens, and whispered, "Daddy, is this really yours?" Archie smiled, tears welling up. "It's ours, sweetheart." Serafina often said later that Archie's mistake was the best thing that ever happened to the company. She even had the old, water-damaged laptop framed and hung in the lobby with a plaque that read, "Sometimes, the smartest people wear the simplest uniforms." Months later, on the anniversary of that night, the company hosted a charity event for single parents in the workforce, an idea inspired by Archie's story. Serafina stood on stage, introducing him as the man who reminded her that greatness doesn't always wear a suit. When Archie spoke, his voice trembled but carried warmth and conviction. "All I ever wanted was to give my daughter a better life," he said. "Sometimes, life forces you to start over from the bottom. But if you hold on to honesty, kindness, and courage, even rock bottom can become your foundation." The crowd erupted in applause. Lily, sitting in the front row, clapped harder than anyone, her smile brighter than the stage lights. Archie Flynn, the janitor who once mopped the floors of a billion-dollar company, had become its quiet hero, not because of a title, but because of a choice made in a single heartbeat of faith. And in that moment, Serafina realized something profound. The true strength of a company isn't measured by profit margins or innovation, but by the people who believe in doing what's right, even when no one's watching.